It's hard walking in it.
Going live now, by the way. All right. So, welcome everybody to episode 124 of the CosCast. My name is Pixie Does Cosplay as usual, and if my sound is fucked up, I'm sorry. I'm still working on it. And with me today, I have my wonderful co-hosts,
Annabella Cosplay.
And Anyasia Cosplay.
Welcome, ladies. And yes. And we have also a very special guest with us today. A warm welcome to Woodsmoke and Words cosplay.
Hi.
Hi. All the way from the UK. So today we'll be interviewing you a bit, talking about how you got into cosplay and a little bit about crossplay, which you are very interested in. But before we do that, let's go into our usual segments, which is cosplay progress. So, have we worked on anything cosplay related during the past week or so?
No, I'm still on sick leave because my arm is still not being my friend, so yeah, I just have to wait, basically.
I get it. It sucks.
Yes. I have not been doing any cosplay related stuff, I'm afraid. I am doing other stuff, like, real life. I mean, not that cosplay ain't real life, but,
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. I haven't been working on anything either per se, but I put together this like super quick closet cosplay of Pidge from Voltron today, so that's something. So I kind of regret doing it now because I think I look really cute, so now I want to do a proper cosplay of Pidge, but I don't know when that's gonna be.
Fantasy Emmy is saying, I love your pitch cosplay!
Thank you!
So everyone's going to end up enabling you now, and then you're going to have to do it.
Send me money and I will do it tomorrow. I am broke. So broke. I have like £20 to last me for a month on my personal, that's what I have. That's it. I am so desperately broke. It's disgusting. So, Matilda, what have you been working on? Have you...
I've been working on way too many things at once. I'm juggling like 4 different cosplays at the moment, but primarily this behind me, which is another Critical Role one that I kind of came up with myself. But yeah, beyond that, mostly gathering materials for things, not so much actual sewing or crafting, but buying stuff, which is... I like it, but I don't.
I can see a dress in the background, though, that you've been working on pretty recently.
Yes. Yeah, so that's Allura from Critical Role. So it's kind of a mixture of different things. I spent a lot of time on Pinterest, so it's a mixture of an Ellie Saab design and some kind of medieval LARP type things.
Well, it's gorgeous.
Thank you.
I can't wait to see you wear it, like the full proper cosplay. I love Critical Role. And so does Tonya. She's like a huge Critical Role fan. It's her life.
I like Critical Role, I just haven't watched or listened to it all.
It is an intimidating amount of content.
Yes.
Exactly.
Very much so. Maker and Muse says in the chat, oh look, there's Allura. Sneaky. And Ranirav says in the chat that she's working on making some finished pieces for her Grey Warden Leclerc cosplay. So excited!
Very much so, yeah.
Yeah. Now I have to get working on my Valeth cosplay soon too. I have the wig and I have some materials for a scarf and a bag, so I just need the rest.
It's very nice. I'm thinking of making umbrellas, and I kind of instead of instead of using a wig, I want the Sunniva, and when she gets well, to cut my hair just like Umbrellas is supposed to look.
Ooh.
Dedication.
I'm up for that. Just not right now.
No, of course. Of course.
I'm game.
Fantasy Emmy says, I'm waiting for orders to arrive so I can finish my cosplay.
Ooh.
Cool. I'm glad everyone's work, or almost everyone has something to work on, at least it seems. Right, so let's move on to the cosplay news.
Yeah.
So the first thing I wanted to mention is that Outland, the store in Oslo, is opening up their own manga, like book club almost. So they choose a manga every month that people read, and then they meet and discuss it. So I thought that was pretty fun.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm amazed it hasn't been done before, really, but it's cool.
Maybe it has. Maybe they're just relaunching or something. I don't know. But it's going to be on the 1st of March, so it's this coming week at Outland Kirkegata in Oslo. So if you're interested in manga and you want to read and discuss manga with other people, you should totally check that out.
Ooh.
They have an event on Facebook, and I will be posting the links to all of the cosplay news on our Facebook page, so you can go there and check it out. The next piece of news is, of course, we're going to remind you guys that House of Cosplay number 7, superhero cosplays, will be happening on Sunday, the 4th of March. That's next weekend, next Sunday. That means that Superhero Girl Creations will be talking about superhero cosplays and teaching you cool stuff. And we will be interviewing her and doing a live show from House of Nerds on Sunday, next weekend.
That means that your sound is gonna be good.
Yes! You won't be stuck with my sucky sound. So, yes. I'm sorry. I promise I'm working as hard as I can to fix whatever this problem is. So.
And also, if you live in Oslo or close by, you can be in the workshop and listen to Superhero Girl Creations talk and be present at our live show and even participate as we go in the live show, because we're going to be interviewing the viewers as well.
Exactly. Which
so
reminds me,
you should go to House of Cosplay.
Yes. Also, on Saturday, same weekend, is Desucon Pop. I'm going to be there, and I'll probably be cosplaying Blossom from the Powerpuff Girls, so if you want to say hi, come and meet me and stuff, you'll know who to look for. And I hope to see you guys there. Also, Unicon Expo 1UP is coming on the 24th of March. So if you live in Asker or close to Asker, you should drop by there. They have a really sweet cafe with maids and butlers and everything, and really nice people and fun activities. And we loved it there last year, and we're very sorry that we can't make it this year, unfortunately. Next piece of item on my list is that there will be a Victorian flea market or clothing market in one of the parks at Bitraf in Oslo on the 22nd of April. So it's still some time away, but it never hurts to plan. If you're working on something Victorian themed, this might be the place for you.
That sounds really cool. Gotta get there early and grab a bargain.
Yeah. I like the way they've written this event. They've written in like an old kind of proper Norwegian phrasing, so it sounds like, the person who wrote this is an 1800s kind of person. So I like it. Also, the last piece of news I want to bring up is gaming related, just because I grew up loving Spyro, the Little Purple Dragon. And they will be remaking 3 of the games. So he'll be coming back. And I really want those games real bad, because it was like a big chunk of my childhood is Spyro. Did anyone of you guys play that?
Actually, no. I never really played Spyro, but I know one of my best friends, she really loved Spyro, so I know that it is a very, very classic game, and if you haven't played it, you really should. I've watched her play it, of course, but I never had the game myself.
I was very late to start playing video games. I don't think I started till I was in college and 16. It wasn't I was very bad at them whenever I tried before then.
Oh, I've been playing for a while. I never said I was any good. I am not. I die a lot.
Yeah. I also played Spyro. I never owned a Spyro game, but I played it when I was, over at my friend's house and stuff like that.
Yeah, same as me then.
It's just fun. It's nostalgia. That and Crash Bandicoot.
Yes, Crash Bandicoot. Yes, I had that game for PlayStation 2, but never for one. I had to borrow it because when we were young, we had to borrow games from each other.
Yes. There was no Steam. There was no Origins.
There was no internet.
No. It's like, we have to go visit so-and-so because they have a Nintendo and I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like that. We only had Nintendo. We never had PlayStation when I grew up. I mean, my first PlayStation I bought myself, so.
Exactly.
I think I got a PlayStation 1 for Christmas by my dad once when I was like maybe 8 or 9. It was best Christmas gift ever.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've never gotten any technology from my dad. Nothing.
I think we used to get like a summer allowance if we helped out at home. So me and my brother, we pooled we combined our summer allowance and bought a Nintendo 64 and a PlayStation 2 together. Not in the same year, consecutive years.
Yeah.
We were not that rich. All right, but we should move on.
Yep.
So I thought I would share some photos that Tilda was so kind to send to us. Just showing off some of her wonderful cosplays. So I'm going to do that. Let's see. There we go. Tilla, you won't see them popping up on your screen because they're being shared in the feed. But you know which photos they are. So one of them is, was it Jack Rackham?
Yes, that's correct.
By Xanthe Flora Photography. This is from Black Sails?
Yep.
Yes, okay. I haven't seen a lot of that show, so I had to make sure.
It's very good. I thoroughly recommend it.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about it.
Yeah, it's kind of underrated, but wonderful.
Cool. You look very handsome as a pirate. I'll tell you that.
Thank you very much.
And the other one is your Sansa Stark cosplay, which was taken by Starbit cosplay. And just the beading on that dress is so beautiful.
Thank you so much. It was, oh gosh, I spent a long time doing that because it was a costume I made for university originally. So I could put a lot more effort into it than I normally would for cosplays. And I pulled an all-nighter to finish that beading before I had to do a photo shoot of it the next day. And there are honestly points where I don't remember anything. There's just black spaces in my memory.
This photo is taken at Akershus Festning in Norway.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what I really love about this photo shoot, because I remember that both you and Herasatai cosplay have both made Sansa, and you were taking pictures at the same time, both Sansa, and I just really love to see cooperation between cosplayers who cosplay the same character. I just think it's amazing. When you get to see that you don't have to, be at each other's throats or...
Definitely. It was a really kind of positive, supportive atmosphere. And because we both loved that character so much, we were kind of giving each other ideas and kind of I don't know, bouncing things off each other. And it was just really, I don't know, it was really kind of productive because we were both kind of, contributing equally and sharing ideas. It was I encourage other people to go shoot with people cosplaying the same character as them at the same time, because it's a different kind of experience, because we don't normally do it. There's this huge obsession in the cosplay community with being the only one in a group that's doing that character, and you miss out on a lot actually doing it that way.
Yeah, and I think it shows that you feed off each other's energy in that shoot, because it looks like both of you are shining. None of you are outshining the other, and it just shows that you both are just as supportive to each other, and it's great. Cosplay the same character, people. Do it.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, like, we cosplay the Link, the red, the blue, and the green one, and it's like legit one of the. It's so fun to just be in a group cosplay and be the same character. It's awesome.
Yeah. So the other kind of similar thing I've done was I did the like Padme's Handmaidens from Star Wars with a few friends for Star Wars Celebration a couple of years ago, and that was so much fun because we all contributed to making them. So I did the patterns, and Hannah and Georgia did the dyeing, and we all kind of took turns cutting things out, and collaboratively making a costume together was so much fun.
I can imagine, and also, you know, you get help from someone who like knows a little bit more about something than you do, and you can do the same thing for them, and I think that's a great way to do cosplay.
Yeah, it was really wonderful because I absolutely suck at dyeing. I'm cursed, I swear. So to be able to kind of give that to someone who was a lot more confident with it was really great.
I feel that way about zippers. Every time I try to install one, it goes to hell, and I have to do it like 3 or 4 times, and like I'm just sitting there praying to the cosplay gods, like, don't make me fuck up the fabric, don't make me fuck up the fabric, please.
Zips are a nightmare. I avoid them at all costs.
I hate them so much. I've installed several zippers, but I never get it right. So I know, in fact, that I'm doing it in some or other wrong way, because I can't get that to work. Whatever I do doesn't work. Always fucks up.
I think it's the only thing I kind of came out of uni knowing how to do even less, because I didn't do it for the 3 years I was there and did all the historical stuff instead. And
But that is a smart way of avoiding zippers. Just do historical.
Yeah,
things.
just do things from before they were invented.
Yeah. Like, I have legit, like, that's one of the things I do when I start like planning a cosplay. It's like, okay, can I make this without a zipper? How can I make this without a zipper? So I'm glad even people who study these kinds of things have issues with that particular.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Fantasy Emma is also saying zippers suck. We agree.
Can confirm.
Right. So let's move into our interview portion of the episode. So maybe Tanya, you want to start, or?
Yes, I want to start. All right. First question is, how long have you been into cosplay, and how did you get into cosplay in the first place?
Okay, so I discovered it in the summer of 2009. One of my closest friends at the time, Reed, had spent a long time on YouTube and discovered Fighting Dreamers Productions. I don't know if they're still making videos, but they did a lot of Naruto skits back in the day. And we just discovered that anime and saw them having loads and loads of fun with it, and decided that we were going to join in and do that as well. So we both cosplayed for the first time on Halloween in 2009, and I honestly have not stopped since. So it's 8 years, 9 years this Halloween, I think, if my math's right. So it's been a long time now. I feel like a bit of a dinosaur.
Yeah. No, you're not a dinosaur.
Absolutely
no, but you've
not.
been in the game for a long time.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah. Watching how things have changed, like being able to find lace front wigs that aren't just a natural hair color, that's wild. So.
Yeah, crazy.
I think we can thank the fashion trends as well. Due to that.
For sure.
Yeah, crazy colors. What? I'm so sorry if I'm being really drag here. I'm really tired, so please bear over with me. But what is it about cosplay that you enjoyed the most? Is it the crafting, performing, the social, or the psychological aspects? Competing? What?
I haven't done a huge amount of performing. It's something I enjoy a lot. I used to do performing arts kind of after school stuff, and it's really nice to revisit that through cosplay. I think for me, because I also make costumes as my job, the crafting element of it is something that I've come to enjoy maybe slightly less over the years. So the social aspect of it has kind of really taken the fore, especially in the last couple of years. Meeting people through groups and at conventions, and being able to kind of, now that I'm older than I was when I started, obviously, being able to travel to different conventions and meet people from different countries, and experience kind of the slight differences in the cosplay communities in different parts of the world, which is just, I mean, it's wonderful. And like meeting you guys at Toricon and stuff, like it's kind of, that is definitely my favorite part about it. And just kind of that sharing of ideas, especially like the supportive element that comes in between cosplayers, especially again if you've made the same costume, that kind of like shared trauma, I guess.
Yes, very much so, shared trauma. It's like we survived the same cosplay process. How did you do it?
I totally agree with you. I for me also, cosplay is more about the social aspect than actual crafting.
Yeah, it has become one of the things that I at least put the highest. The social bit of it is the most important thing for me.
Indeed. And I can see that Fantasy Ami has a question for all of us, but I guess maybe you could answer it first. Do you have a favorite cosplay?
Ooh, that's a really tough question. Gosh, I mean, I guess Hawk from Dragon Age. I tend to keep revisiting that character, so it's not necessarily the same cosplay because it's not the same outfit, but I've cosplayed her 3 times now, and like I don't want to stop, so probably Hawk.
But your Hawk is so good though, so on point.
Oh, thank you so much.
It's like you and Starbit, you both have like amazing interpretations of Hawk.
Oh God, I just like, it's the character I love so much. I relate to her so much, and it just kind of, yeah, I'll I don't think I'll stop cosplaying Hawk for a very long time. I think I'm done, and then I'm like, nope, I want to do it again.
Reels you back in.
Yeah, can't escape.
Yeah. How about you, Anita? What's your favorite cosplay?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Like if we're talking craftsmanship wise, I think the one I feel the most satisfied with is probably my Ceres on Crate cosplay.
That was so wonderful, by the way.
Oh,
I was
thank
admiring that at Toricon.
It was like, it's the biggest challenge I've ever undertaken, I swear. That and the Arwen dress I made in 2016. So yeah, craftsmanship-wise, I think that's my favorite. But to wear, I think the most fun I've ever had in a cosplay is probably when we do the Link group cosplays together. Yeah, I think that's my answer.
And you, Sunniva?
I don't know. I'm not sure. It kind of changes, I guess, but the Link one is always fun. I don't know.
It's like choosing who's your favorite child, really. You can't really choose.
It really is.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I mean, like, craftsmanship, I'm most pleased with the Kira Metz, but I hate to wear her.
Oh, that's fair.
Because it's heavy and shows too much, and yeah. And but my all-time favorite is kind of a tie between Link and Merida, because both Merida and Link are super fun to wear because they embody some of my personality, I guess. But Merida is quite painful to wear because I've made her sleeves too tight over here, so I get like markings, like, yeah. So yeah, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's my favorite. So, yeah.
A case of suffering for your art.
Yeah. And I always do it over here with my arms. I mean, I misjudge my muscles. So they're so big, you know. No.
Your
Moving on.
guns.
Moving on.
We have another question in the chat, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna say this right, but I'm gonna try. It's from Maker and Muse, and she says, "How did you get so beautiful?"
I feel like that's become such a meme that it's purely rhetorical at this point.
Yeah.
Good question, though.
Good question. It's true though.
All right. So, do you have a cosplay speciality or favorite type of cosplay?
Oh. As in sort of like technique-wise, I guess.
Yeah, or techniques, or what type of materials, or...
Oh, I mean, the thing that I have the most kind of, because of studying at uni, the most kind of skills in is sewing and dressmaking. I think it's probably what I do the most. I don't know whether it's my favorite. I tend to kind of flip back and forth between things because I'll do a lot of something and then I'll get sick of it and need to do something for a bit of change. I think my favorite thing that I've learned since I started was tooling leather and kind of working with that and like wet molding it and stuff and making armor from leather because it's something that I never thought I would be able to do. And it's kind of, I mean, I'm nowhere near good enough at it yet, but it's kind of something that I enjoy doing. And it's very therapeutic, despite the fact it's like mucked up my shoulder and given me RSI and all these things. But it's very satisfying and rewarding. So probably that. I enjoy working with Warbler and I do like making armor, but it's I don't know, I think it always ends up being a bit more stressful than anything else that I do. So it's probably leatherworking and sewing.
Nice. Could you tell our viewers what kind of technique draping on the stand is and maybe give them some quick pointers?
Yes. So draping on the stand, also known as cutting on the stand, is a form of pattern drafting that is a lot more 3D. So people in the cosplay community go about pattern drafting in a lot of different ways, and it's kind of a whatever works for you thing, really. So as an alternative to altering pre-made patterns or flat drafting stuff, which I personally struggle with because I have dyscalculia, so like a form of math dyslexia, which means that looking at geometric shapes is an absolute nightmare. So draping on the stand, you're essentially working with like a kind of throwaway fabric. You could use old bed sheets or cheap calico from IKEA or something, and you are creating your pattern in 3D on a mannequin. I've draped patterns on people before when they haven't had mannequins. So essentially, you'd want a mannequin or a friend that could drape it on you, or a friend of a similar size to you. That is pretty much roughly your body type. You can alter it afterwards, but something that's close enough to you to work. And if you're going to be wearing any kind of foundation garments under a costume, so a corset, for instance, that would dramatically change your shape, you'd want to have that on the mannequin or on you first. And essentially, you're pinning it on and you're drawing in the seam lines and creating the pattern pieces in 3D. So I tend to start with a lot of reference for what I'm making, or a pattern that I think might look right. I'm kind of lucky enough to have a lot of historical costume books and pattern books and stuff that have the pattern pieces drawn out in them, so you can kind of already see roughly the shape they should be. It can be quite intimidating, but if you just give it a go and keep trying, it gets a lot easier, and it's a very quick way of creating patterns and getting an idea of what something will look like almost immediately. I have a PDF. If people want the PDF, message me and I will send it to you from the panel that I did at Toricon last summer. which kind of goes through everything a lot more eloquently than I just did right now.
But it was very understandable.
That's good.
And we went to your panel last year and saw it, and I thought it was really interesting to see just, the process of how you drape and, draw things on and just step by step created panels and things. So it seems like a very interesting way to work, and I haven't tried it yet because, as you say, it does look a little intimidating.
Yeah.
But I kind of do want to try it. Especially, I'm making a Mad Moxie from Borderlands 2, and I'm really scared of that jacket.
Yeah, that was probably a really good thing to drape, actually. Because, I mean, it's really excellent for kind of figuring out how the fabric will behave before you start cutting into your actual fabric. So whilst I'm always an advocate for making mock-ups, if you don't have the time or you can't afford the extra fabric, you can kind of make half of something using the pattern pieces that you've draped as the mock-up already. But yeah, I think tip-wise, my main ones would be start at the centre back, and then go round to the centre front and start from there and meet in the middle, and pay attention to the grain of your fabric. So if something isn't kind of meant to be stretching, you want to make sure it's on the straight of grain in your pattern as well as when you cut out the final fabric, because that makes such a huge difference. If something's on the bias on the mannequin and you don't notice, it's going to fit very differently if you then cut it on the straight of grain, because it won't work.
Yeah.
These are very good tips. I'm going to try to remember that for when I try making that awful jacket. Oh, goodness. Oh.
And if you don't remember it, you can just go back and watch this episode.
Yeah. Or I'll just message you at like 2 a.m. and like, help.
I'll probably be awake.
I actually feel like I really want to try the draping, because as you find it very, very hard to lay out patterns when they're flat, I don't see like how it could fit, or even if I measure up stuff, I still find it hard to actually make it fit, because you have to add seam length and stuff like that.
That's a nightmare, and it's exactly what I struggle with, so I would recommend giving draping a go. Because that was, figuring out kind of how something will translate from a flat pattern to a 3D object is frustrating at the best of times, and even more difficult when you can't kind of visualize the shape properly.
Yeah, and then when you drape it on, you can see exactly how much length you have to sew in, and it's genius, basically.
Is it, what type of clothing or would you recommend the most for draping?
I've draped, I've draped everything from armor, weirdly, to like historical kind of fitted bodices. Generally, it works better with things that are close fitting, and because you can kind of, you're using the mannequin, you're leaning on the mannequin and kind of pulling it tight around the mannequin to make sure it fits nicely. But I mean, provided that you kind of have a good sense for how things should hang if they're away from the body. Like, I've draped waistcoats, like kind of the waistcoat for my Jack Rackham cosplay, actually, I draped on the stand. If you've got kind of a good feeling of how far away it should sit from the body, then you can drape pretty much anything. I wouldn't, obviously trousers and stuff won't work. Like jackets, like kind of blazers and coats and stuff probably won't. But like kind of closer garments and armor. I've done that. The armor for my Fenris cosplay I draped on the stand with card instead of cloth. And that turned out okay. So
Cool.
That's nice. So, do you have a favorite fandom you like to cosplay from?
I think given my track record and the plans that I've kind of come up with for the future, it's probably Tolkien stuff. It's, that and high fantasy things generally, so it's like probably a combination of Tolkien and Dragon Age at this point.
I was waiting for the Dragon Age.
Yeah.
it was going to be there. Guaranteed to fit in somewhere. I think I always loved the amount of work they put into the world building for the Lord of the Rings films, and I grew up with them, so they're very kind of familiar, and I love the designs in them. So kind of recently cosplaying from the Silmarillion and planning to revisit that character again, the kind of being able to take those ideas and build on them on my own is really fun. And yeah, then I mean, just straight up copying the costumes from Lord of the Rings. So many of Arwen's gowns that I want to make. They're
Yes,
gorgeous.
all of them, all of them.
My list on Cosplanner is just Arwen dress 2, Arwen dress 1. So many.
Oh, good. Bring your Arwen the next time you come to Norway. We can cosplay Arwen together.
Yes, definitely.
Lucia Farah says, "Yay, Tolkien and Dragon Age." Heart.
All the hearts.
But I remember we went to Arthacon, and I think it was a lottery thing, and all the winners were Arwen cosplayers. It was really weird. Like,
yeah, that's true.
It wasn't. The theme wasn't even Arwen. It was just this random lottery thing, and they just pulled up like number 33, and it was an Arwen cosplayer. And I think it was like 3 different Arwen.
I think I was probably the only Arwen present that day that didn't get called up on stage during that lottery.
Oh wow.
It was weird.
It was really funny. It was really funny.
The magic of Arwen.
Mm.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Maybe you want to take the last questions.
Yeah, I can do that. All right. Yeah. You've done a lot of crossplays in the past. Could you tell us a bit about it and how it has affected you as a person, maybe?
Yeah. So it was something that at the start I think I kind of avoided a bit for the first couple of years, and then I kind of started to really kind of get into it and realized that it gave me a lot of confidence. So this past year I came out as non-binary, and crossplaying kind of allowed me to explore that in a very safe and accepting environment. The cosplay community has like a long way to go in terms of kind of representation and stuff, and there are still issues, but it's better than any other community I've ever been part of or heard about or been kind of even slightly involved in, for being accepting and very open and supportive. So kind of, I think probably cosplaying Jack was the turning point, which was one of the reasons I chose that photo, because it was a character, especially facial hair, is a very kind of like, it's almost, there's a kind of societal taboo, and it's very kind of just something that you, if you're brought up as a woman or you identify as a woman, it's something that you kind of just avoid entirely. And it was something that when I tried to do earlier on, when I was a bit younger cosplaying guys, it was something that made me very uncomfortable. And then something must have just clicked with that cosplay and that character, and I felt very, very comfortable and very confident. And from that point on, it was kind of something that I tried to do more often. I think this year I'm cosplaying like 2 female characters, and out of like 14 cosplay plans or something ridiculous, the rest are all male characters. I think for me it's always been very much the characters that I was drawn to purely based on their personality, and it's kind of like there's always been a pretty kind of even divide. I've never chosen to cosplay or not to cosplay a character because of their gender, but I don't know, it's just kind of worked out that way. And I think I would recommend at some point that everyone try it if they fancy it, because it's a very kind of interesting experience. I found that I kind of move differently, and I'm a bit more confident, and I don't know, it's just, yeah, it's an experience. I guess it's the same way people recommend trying drag and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
No, but I totally agree with you. The whole thing of like dressing up as a person of the opposite gender is very liberating. And as you say, like when I'm Link, I walk differently and I feel differently about myself, and it's freeing and interesting, and yeah.
Yeah, to me it doesn't really. I understand what you're saying, but to me it doesn't. It does not have anything to do with the gender of the character. It's just the character I want to cosplay.
Yeah, yeah.
For instance, when I'm cosplaying Dustin from Stranger Things, it's like I do walk differently and I do act differently, but it's still some part of me, though.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's just really just fun. I don't really think about the gender, really. I just cosplay whoever I want to cosplay, and
there are like as Matilda said, like the whole thing with like facial hair is suddenly okay, whereas as a woman you're taught like, oh my gosh, if you have facial hair then there's something wrong with you, sort of thing, you know, like. I think just being allowed to do that, to have facial hair and still feel badass is very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, as you were saying, it's freeing, and it kind of adds a lot of confidence. So yeah, whilst like same as Sunniva, I've never kind of chosen deliberately based on a gender. It's just because I love that character.
Exactly.
Like it's a very positive experience. And I mean, it's kind of given me a lot because it's kind of allowed me to kind of figure out myself a bit more, which is really wonderful. And I mean, I wouldn't speak for anyone else, but it seems something that is a fairly common theme in the cosplay community. People kind of using it to explore their sexuality and gender a bit more, which is like really wonderful. I think that we've kind of created a community of people worldwide that can do that and are very accepting and encouraging when people do that.
Yeah. Another thing I really like about cosplaying male characters is that I like it because then you're kind of allowed to be ugly. If you know what I mean.
Yes, exactly. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, because I've never thought of myself as a pretty girl or anything. I mean, people have said, oh, you're so sweet, you're so this and that, but I've never felt it myself. So when I'm cosplaying a guy, I actually feel kind of handsome. So it's nice.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to just feel in cosplay in general, to feel badass or as yourself. Like as I've been saying a lot of times, like I've never felt as much as home as I do in cosplay, but still yet so weird. But I don't like from an outside perspective. But cosplay sort of makes me feel normal.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean. It was I used to be incredibly kind of shy and a bit introverted. I think it's brought out a lot of confidence in me that if I hadn't started cosplaying I wouldn't have had. Just kind of being able to travel through London in a weird outfit is something most people would completely cringe at, but it's like cosplay gives people so much confidence. It's always so brilliant to see because people just kind of light up when they're cosplaying. It's wonderful.
Yeah, and as you said, like the community in cosplay, I've never ever been ever heard of even any other community that is that including towards everyone and that friendly and that open-minded. Like I've been doing a lot of different things growing up. Like I've been into theater, I've been playing football, I've been doing a lot of different things, and never ever have I felt as comfortable with everyone. It's like I don't feel like I have to put on a mask, even though I technically do, but it's like I don't feel like I have to do pretend to be something else, even though I am. It's weird. This is very weird.
I think we all get exactly what you're saying though.
yeah, totally. Himedere says in the chat, I barely ever crossplay, mostly because I have a very feminine body, so cosplaying a guy is just way more difficult. Lol.
I can understand that. I think all of us three in the CosCast are very typically female bodies.
Yes.
We're sort of short and round. We have, not round in that sense, but we're thick, basically. We have booties and we have boobs and we have hips and all that jazz. So it makes it harder.
It does. You just have to know how to cheat your proportions, you know?
Yeah.
Like, get clothes that are a little bit too big and, you know, make something that rests lower on your hip instead of going all the way up, you know.
That's the bit I've always struggled with because my hips are very wide. So, like, my top tip would be balancing out your shoulders.
Yeah, big shoulders.
If you put shoulder pads in or kind of make... Sounds a bit extreme, but I know a lot of cosplayers do it, kind of make a, like, muscle shirt type thing to make your shoulders broader. It'll kind of trick the eye a bit more, and also
chest binding, of course. That
Yes.
that helps.
Yeah, and the makeup, masculine makeup is very important. Not very important, but it can do the trick.
Yes.
Yeah, it
for
goes
sure.
a long way.
And learn how to pose. Posing also is very important.
Yeah.
If you want to take cool pictures, you have to do that for feminine stuff as well. But it could be a smart thing to just pose in front of a mirror and just practice and see what you should stand like to look more masculine or feminine, if that's what
Yeah,
you want.
I remember we did a small shoot outside of Unicon last year. I was cosplaying Juminhan from Mystic Messenger, and you were like yelling at me like, "Don't stick your booty out! Suck it in! Suck it in!" It looks
Punch
too
your
girly.
back a little bit
Yeah.
more because your booty is sticking too much out.
So it's nice if you have friends who will just yell at you to like, "Don't pop your booty," then you'll be fine. Also, Ranirav says, "Tonya is so pretty, I could lick her to keep her to myself." There you go.
You're actually making me blush.
Aww.
I'm like, oh my god, it's so hot in here.
That's the most romantic thing Tonya's ever heard in her life.
Yeah.
Fantasy Emmy says, "Whenever I cosplay, I feel like I have a force field." And yes, I agree. It's like having a safe wall around you that allows you to be yourself. Let's see. Lots of comments from the chats.
Yeah.
Cece says, "But also the thing is, Sunniva, the mask you technically put on can comfortably come off in this community too, if that makes sense." Yes, it does.
It does. Yeah.
And also, Maker News says, "You wouldn't think Ingrid could rock a hunky male figure,
Oh.
but she can."
Oh, we know she can.
Level.
I mean, her Feely got me so confused in so many ways. I'm not gonna go into it.
It's not just the Keely, it's
No.
also
Everything.
The vampire one.
Yeah, Mitchell.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh
I
God.
get so flustered if Ingrid starts
Yeah.
flirting. Like,
I can't. I
done.
can't. I'm just like, stop.
All right, I'm gonna move on to the next question. What are your cost plans for this year? What are you making, and which cons are you going to?
This is an exciting question. So there. Oh gosh, I am planning to compete with Maker and Muse in May. So my kind of main cosplay plan for the first half of the year is Yennefer of Vengerberg from the Witch.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Which is what I was actually buying materials for yesterday. It's been, yeah, lots of ribbon, so much ribbon. So that's pretty much what I'm working on at the moment, along with Philippe from Versailles, which is a wonderful show I would recommend if you want a lot of 17th century French drama. It's just
Who wouldn't?
top tier. It's very funny. And gosh, what else am I working on? I need to finish off Allura, and I'm also working on Laurent from the book series Captive Prince at the moment. And that's pretty much it for the first half of the year. The second half, I am it's not so optimistic how fast things will get done. It depends on how competing goes, because it's kind of a two-part competition, so it depends what happens with that. But my cosplay plans for the second half of the year are very ambitious. One of them happens to be a completely hand-embroidered French court suit.
Oh wow.
If you've seen the Beauty and the Beast film, it's the one that he has at the beginning, with that really kind of ostentatious wig.
That is yeah, that's ambitious.
Yeah. So I'm not sure how much I'll regret it when I'm done, if I am ever done. But yeah, that's kind of a hopeful potential cosplay for the end of the year. Convention plans. I am definitely going to Germany Comic Con in Stuttgart at the end of June and first first day of July, I think it is. And I will be at NowCon as well in late July. Apart from that, I think it's kind of standard London conventions, really. So May MCM Expo, I think just for one day, because they've put their ticket prices up once again, and I'm boycotting it as much as I can. Yeah, then just kind of seeing what else pops up. Really, I'm maybe, hopefully, gonna try and go to New York City Comic Con in October, but that very much depends on how much work I get, because I freelance, so we'll see.
Let's hope you make it.
Fingers crossed.
Thank you.
Which brings me to, what is your ultimate dream cosplay?
I have two. They're very different. The first one is Thranduil's armor from Battle of Five Armies. I've put that off for a very long time because I wanted to make sure I could make it perfect and make it look like real metal, which is something that I'm nowhere near good enough with Warbler yet to even attempt that, but one day, hopefully. And the other one is Ella's ball gown from the 2015 Cinderella. Which I've put off purely because I don't have enough space to make it.
It's a big dress.
It is. It's ridiculous. Yeah. But yeah, if I did have room, I would make it now. Because I've been thinking about that since I saw the film. But yeah, hopefully one day I'll have enough space.
Yeah. I actually think I have enough space. I just don't have the skills.
And also, I mean, the amount of meters of fabric that will have to go into that dress. Yeah. Holy shit.
You want to find a really cheap source for organza.
Yeah. Also, Cece is saying in the chat, by the way, I wasn't here in the start to comment on all of your cosplays, but I gotta say that your Sansa cosplay is gorgeous.
Oh, thank you so much. That's so kind of you.
Cece is also a Sansa cosplayer.
Yes.
Yay.
And she says, bring her to Narcon.
Oh, it might be a bit warm. That cosplay is very heavy. When I was bringing it to Oslo in November, I put it in my suitcase to weigh my suitcase, and just the cloak and the dress, without boots or wig or the fur or anything else, it weighed 10 kilograms.
Oh wow.
So bringing it to cons is a bit of a mission.
Yeah, and a summer convention.
Yeah.
Having worn it in the snow in Norway and been perfectly warm, I don't know how well I'd fare in July.
You would melt.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't. I don't think I would have put my money on that. No.
No.
No, you'd find me a puddle somewhere in the corner.
No. Lucia Ferro says Torukan. That might work if it's not sunny. But it's still in August, so
Ooh.
not necessarily safe.
I mean, the weather at Turukon's always been all right.
Yeah.
For warm cosplays, I've worn Hawk there a couple of times. It's been okay, but.
Also, Sample Cosplay is saying, Cece doesn't care about warm. She wanted me to bring John.
Oh, that's cruel, Cece.
One of my friends actually wore his Jon Snow cosplay in July in London a couple of years ago, which was just ridiculous. He looked like he was going to die. I don't know why he kept it on.
I mean, if you bring a cosplay like that, you keep it on for pictures, and then you go take it off afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, or you have like a bikini or something underneath, and an easy solution to just open it up and get it off.
Yeah.
Bikini Jon Snow! Oh god!
I want to see someone cosplay that.
Yes, please.
Oh yeah, I would love to see that. I've seen a bikini Gandalf, so why not a bikini now?
Someone make that happen.
Yeah. And Cece's saying, Father will be there. I don't know how he'll survive.
Oh. No.
Anyway, and we have our in-house question that we ask all of our guests. And the wonderful Sample Cosplay is the one who started this trend, and we've just taken it over, and we're continuing her legacy. So, If you were a fruit or a vegetable, which would you be and why?
Ooh. I had to think about this earlier because it seemed a very important question that I needed to give lots of thought to. I think I would probably be an apple. Probably a cooking apple. I really, really like autumn, and it's a very kind of autumnal fruit. And I have a lot of pleasant memories associated with them. The only dessert, the only thing I can cook with any kind of assured success is apple crumble, which requires a lot of cooking apples. And it's one of my favorite foods. It's kind of, they're great under certain conditions, mixed with whiskey, which is something I can relate to. Definitely a cooking apple, I think. Yeah.
Good answer. Good answer.
Good answer. And I just want to mention, because Sample was hosting our Instagram account this week that just passed, and she answered this question in one of her Q&As, and she said that she was a coconut because some people like her, some people don't. It can make you fat, and she's hairy. And I laughed so hard. No, I don't remember if that it was exactly what she said, but it was something like that, and it was just hilarious. And I was like, "Good answer, dude."
It was good.
Yeah. In that regard, you could be kiwi too, if you're hairy.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
hairy on the outside but sweet on the inside.
You almost have
Or
different kind
sour.
of levels. You could be a peach, then a kiwi, then a coconut. It's kind of
Oh, yeah.
you got fuzz, and then there's kind of small hairs, and then really hairy.
Yeah. The coconut is the Chewbacca.
I thought about this yesterday while we were eating. If I were to answer this question again, I would say dragon fruit, because we got dragon fruit on our dessert. And I was like, yeah, I would be a dragon fruit because they look really exciting, but when you get to know them, they're really boring.
Aw.
Aw. You're not a dragon fruit.
I am.
No.
I totally am.
No, you're not.
I think you do
I just
yourself a disservice.
Yes.
And drink tea and do nothing. That's my favorite things to do.
You're a potato.
Yeah, but I look exciting like a dragon fruit, right?
Yes, you do.
I look like I'm up for some fun, but I'm not. There.
No, you're selling yourself short.
I die.
I mean, I would rather say the opposite if I had a choice. That you look boring, but you're super fun.
Yeah. No. I don't know what to say to that. So I'm just gonna, sail past it with grace and ease, and say that kind of concludes our interview session. So we're gonna move into the geekery segment of our show, and I'm going to ask you guys if you have read, watched, played, or listened to anything interesting this week that you would like to recommend.
Yes, I want everyone to play Player Unknown Battlegrounds. It's amazing.
It sounds stressful, is what it sounds like.
It definitely is. You have to run, and you have to shoot people, and you have to hide because people are shooting at you. And it's basically you're 100 people getting dropped on an island, and one will survive. There will be only one winner.
That's intense.
And not only that, the circle that you can stay in is smaller and smaller and smaller for every minute that goes, almost. So you have to run a lot and hide a lot and try to keep alive.
It's basically Battle Royale, just in computer game.
Yep. Or you can play Fortnite, which is the more happy version of this game, but...
Sample wants to recommend the podcast Dungeons, Dice, and Everything Nice, as always. They're really funny. They're very neurotic. They're the most neurotic set of players I've ever encountered. And it can be really entertaining sometimes, and sometimes they're like, can we just get on with the killing or something? But yeah, it's a good show. Maker and Muse is predicting what you're going to say.
Oh, I'm going to have to go and look. Well, once again, she has read my mind. I'm not even going to try and deny it. I finished the Hearts of Stone DLC on Thursday. So if you've played Witcher and you haven't played that, I thoroughly recommend going and playing it because it was so disturbing, but so good.
So good. I haven't played Blood and Wine yet, but Hearts of Stone was so good.
I've been listening to Gauntridim's theme today because we were talking about music for our skit, and it just so creepy, so good.
I know that there's this one cosplayer guide called Tiller. He's making Gauntridim.
Yeah, I've been following his progress. I'm so
cool.
excited to see it because I had no idea who the character was, and then because he started maybe a month before I started playing that DLC. And then I was like, this.
Also, by the way, since Maker and Muse is in the chat, I'm going to say that I've been following your work in progress on Triss and all the leather working, and oh my god. That must be taking forever.
She had something very cool happen today. The voice actor for Geralt actually commented on one of her posts and said that she's going to make a great Triss, which is wild, and I'm so excited to be cosplaying with her because she's going to be wonderful.
So crazy! That is so cool.
Wow.
I can't wait to see you guys in cosplay on the stage. Like you have to record it so I can see this.
We will definitely get someone to record it.
Good.
I've been watching Netflix as always, and since I watched the season 2 of Good Morning Call, I'm like you get this, recommendations because you've seen this and that show, and there are a lot of Asian TV shows that pops up, and I started watching the one that's called One More Time, and it's so sad. It is so sad. I cried.
Yeah, I think we have a few in our group of friends who have been watching that show quite religiously in the past. So they'll probably be happy to have one more person to commiserate with.
Yeah.
It's always good when a recommendation includes, I cried, you'll love it.
Yeah. And I bought myself a new book. I have no idea if it will be good or anything, but it's of Peter V. Brett, The Painted Man. It's supposedly some fantasy with the demons and stuff.
Oh, I've read that one. It's pretty
excited.
good.
I'm quite excited to see. Apparently, it's action suspense all the way. So we'll see.
It's very like grim fantasy, like a lot of the newer, like for the past 5 or 6 years, like grim fantasy was really had like a hype train that it was riding. So it's kind of a part of that wave, but I thought it was well written. I haven't read the last book in the series, but up to that point, I was pretty happy with it. So you've got some good things in store.
Yeah, I just bought the first book now, just to see if I like it before I buy the next book.
And we went to see the Black Panther yesterday.
Yeah, we did.
We're not going to spoil the movie for anyone, but it's worth watching. That's all we're going to say about that.
Yeah. It's worth the money.
Yes, and the only thing I want to say, this is not a spoiler, but I'm really looking forward for the next Avengers movie.
Yes, Infinity War.
Oh, yeah. They combine everything Marvel, and it's glorious. The trailer, at least, is glorious.
Yes.
So I watched Thor Ragnarok again the other night, and just same feeling. I absolutely cannot wait for Infinity War. It's gonna...
I haven't seen Thor Ragnarok yet, but I really, really want to.
It's
I have to see Thor Ragnarok, and I have to see Doctor Strange, and I have to see the second Guardians of the Galaxy, because I haven't seen that either.
No, me neither.
Oh my god, guys, I don't know you.
I never go to the movies. Like I don't, and I forget about movies.
I would say
Most of them are like on DVD now, so go buy it.
But I forget them.
I can't afford it.
You can borrow mine.
There you go.
Don't be so angry.
You were about to say something, Matilda.
I was going to say that Thor Ragnarok does a really wonderful job of kind of bridging the gap between the humor in like the kind of sort of standard Marvel movies like Iron Man and Captain America and stuff, and the humor in Guardians of the Galaxy. It's a really nice kind of midpoint between them, which
good.
will hopefully help tie everything in a bit more. I thoroughly recommend it. It's
now I want to see
wonderful.
it even more.
Yeah.
Rebel says, I'm getting to Witcher very slowly after The Last of Us. Oh, that game. Took me on an emotional ride at least. And Cece Turi says she's halfway through Still Me by Jojo Moyes, which is the 3rd book in the series or something like that. I haven't read anything by Jojo Moyes. Have any of you guys?
No.
I'm terrible at remembering author names, so I don't know.
I read maybe 1 or 2 books a year, so.
No. But I'm not sure. I don't really know what kind of books Jojo Moyes writes, so I mostly just, when I read fantasy or sci-fi. I just mostly can't be bothered unless it's like work related or academica or something like that, you know.
Not even manga?
No. I can't afford to buy manga.
You can borrow.
Yeah.
And not from me, but from, you know.
Also, I would recommend Jossum Art's Witchcraft. She hasn't posted that many chapters yet, but chapter 1 is done, and it looks so good. And I can't wait for the rest of the comic to finish.
Yeah, it's out on Tapas, I think, .com or something like that. It's a webcomic about a witch who tries to find love but ends up binding herself to a death demon instead or something like that. It's a very interesting concept.
You just reveal the whole of chapter 1.
But it's in the bio to the comic, so it's not a big spoiler.
I know.
It's the hook of the comic, so I didn't really spoil anything.
No, but I know that Jocelyn puts a lot of time and energy and effort in all the characters and everything about the comics. So,
and she also live streams on Twitch when she's making her art a lot. So you should check that out too.
Yep. Yes, I follow and patron her.
Yay! Woo! Everyone should do that. She's really talented, and she's trying to make it as an artist full time. So if anyone can support her, I really recommend that you do that.
All right, Sample requoted herself. I would be a coconut because I'm sweet, but not everyone likes me. That's okay. And I'm also kind of hairy. That was almost right.
Almost.
You used the right words.
Yeah.
All right. But I think we are now almost 10 minutes over time. #overcast. It's a thing. It should be an internet meme by now. I don't know. We can never stay on time for some reason.
Yep.
So I would just like to say thank you so much to Matilda for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure having you on.
Well, thank you very much for having me. It's been lovely.
Aww.
Glad you think so. It could have been a horrific experience. You never know.
No, it's been great.
Okay, great. Also, I would like to say thank you to everyone who has been watching this episode, commenting in the chat. Remember to subscribe to our channel and click on that little bell icon. That way you'll get a notification every time we upload a new video. If you want to follow our content, you can also find us on Facebook and Instagram at the CosCast. And you can find our lovely guest at Woodsmoke and Words on Facebook and Instagram and pretty much everywhere online, I suppose.
Yeah, I think so. I try to keep it all matching.
Yeah. Yes, so we'll see you next Sunday. We'll be live streaming from House of Nerds. So drop by House of Nerds if you want to, be on a live show and ask questions there and learn stuff from Superhero Girl Creations.
Yep.
Yes, okay.
Do it.
Thanks for
And
watching.
also, if you can, and if you can afford it, go to House of Nerds. Support House of Cosplay.
Yes. It's a very good initiative.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to end it there. Okay, thanks. Bye.
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 Bye.